Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Liana Leonoff. I'm the president and founder of the Global Positive Health Institute, and welcome to the special series on meaning, purpose, and spirituality in lifestyle medicine and healthcare and beyond. And today I'm delighted to have with us Dr. Wayne Dysinger, a longtime friend, a past president of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and now the new Chief Medical Officer of Blue Zones Health. Welcome, Wayne.
It's great to be here, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
I really look forward to having this brief discussion with you. And the first question is actually gets right to the heart of it, which is, what do you see as the core of your life purpose that drives you personally and professionally?
So, you can you can go a long ways with these kind of questions, but I will just say that I believe in a God or a higher power or whatever, some greater being than myself, who puts things in front of me, and it feels like what my calling is. So I guess it's what my purpose is really to it's lifestyle medicine. I mean that may not make sense, but that's what I feel like I'm called to do. Certainly professionally for sure, and specifically make lifestyle medicine available to the average patient, so that they have that lifestyle medicine choice, and make lifestyle medicine available to the average physician, so they have that opportunity to practice that way.
And so you say it's the core of your life purpose, and you addressed it certainly from a professional perspective. So can you unpack a little bit from a personal perspective? Is it living a healthy lifestyle that is at the core for yourself personally?
So for me personally, my goal in life is to be balanced, to have joy, to have courage, um, and and to just be honest, as I go through life. So those are sort of my life values, um, and I approach that, almost, quite systematically, almost to the point of obsessive compulsive, where I have these little systems that I use to help me, to stay balanced, and to be able to take those courageous steps, and to do it with joy and with honesty. So so as long as I have that balance and that sort of core joy and peace, then that's what matters for me personally. Um, so
And can you give some examples of the kinds of activities that feel meaningful that are related to that feeling of purpose and uh, balance?
yeah, so so what are the things that give me meaning? I'm going to actually swing a totally different side with that. Um, I went professional for the purpose, because that's sort of, the thing that drives me. But what brings me meaning is way more on the personal side. So it's spending time with my kids, and that gives me a lot of joy and meaning. It's spending time out in nature, just, whether it's gardening or hiking, or just sitting by a lake in the mountains, or whatever. Those kinds of things. I love adventure, so giving myself little opportunities for adventure, that brings me joy and a certain sense of meaning. Um, and then I'll also say a service of any kind, and that can be service professionally, where I feel like I'm helping colleagues. It can be service professionally where I'm interacting with a patient, but also service, in my communities and other places, service to my family. So so those are the things that I cherish and that I try to position myself to do more of. Um, and that sort of is the foundation of my purpose. So the purpose may seem a little, I don't know if superficial would be the right term, but it may seem a little bit um, not balanced. But I feel like by bringing meaning to that in these other sort of more foundational ways, it allows that purpose to work in my life.
And I imagine it comes back to you. As you well know, and the listeners know, I've been a real advocate for positive psychology and positive health, and a huge element, and that is scientifically supported, is those altruistic acts, those acts of service and kindness, so that the person who's offering that kindness gets as much or more from that
Of
interaction.
course,
And yeah,
of course,
and
of
and so
course.
that does kind of lead to this question of how your life purpose and meaning uh, really affects your well-being. You have more to share around that.
Excuse me. Um, well, at at the core, li life gives us curveballs. It gives us things that are hard. It gives us things that we wouldn't want or wouldn't necessarily choose for ourselves, or for people that we care about. Um, and so what we're challenged to do, I think, as human beings, is to be resilient, to be able to take those blows and continue to move forward. So to me, those kinds of things I talked about that give me meaning, that's what allows me to take the hard things that life gives us and to still wake up in the morning with that purpose. And
Mhm.
not that that I don't struggle with a purpose at times, and who knows, what's really behind the purpose. But as I started off saying, I feel like it's really what I'm meant to be doing, and what I'm blessed to be doing.
A true calling, yes. And oftentimes our calling, our sense of life purpose, what we find meaningful, is also intricately connected to a sense of spirituality or one's religious beliefs. How does that work for you? How does that tie in for you?
So so I grew up in a fairly conservative Christian um, culture. And but then, as you are prone to do as you go through young adulthood, you need to make it your own. You need to figure out what makes sense for you. And what has made sense for me around spirituality, I have stayed within the religion that I was raised in, but I just practice it in the ways that make sense for me. But I'm going to give you the title of a book, um, which in some ways defines my spirituality as much as anything. So the book is called Spirituality of Imperfection. Spirituality of Imperfection, and it the premise of the book is that if we embrace our weaknesses, that's what draws us closer to our God, our higher power, or whatever, which is is not the way I was raised. I was raised that it was the 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 more good I brought to the table, that's what made me good in the eyes of God and others. Um, but to me, embracing all of me, including my imperfections, I should say, um, that's what really makes me feel like I'm in that spiritual space. I'm connected to God and to that peace that's underneath the purpose and underneath the meaning and the calling and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, that makes sense because, of course, as human beings, and we're imperfect, we're also quite vulnerable. And to be able to have a sense of being embraced in our spiritual beliefs, our religious deities, or other ways, it could be our community that's our particular core driver, but anything that embraces all of us, our whole self, is going to make us feel loved and propel us forward in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to have had that exposure and to feel like that works for me.
Yeah. So we've been talking about this important element of our lives, meaning, purpose, spirituality, religiosity, and the American College of Lifestyle Medicine is now recognizing that in some way this needs to be embraced in healthcare and by lifestyle medicine practitioners. So we're going to be putting together a think tank and bring together people from healthcare and researchers in this area of religion, spirituality, purpose, and how those affect us, both our emotional health, mental health, and physical health, social health. We're going to look at all that science, put our thinking caps on, and say, okay, well, what more do we need to learn from the science? What additional research needs to happen? And in the meantime, what can we embrace now as health practitioners to help our patients? And so I'd love to hear your thoughts about how we might go about doing that.
Yeah, so I'm thrilled that the lifestyle medicine community is embracing, at least at some level, this concept of whole person care. This idea that we need to look at people not as a sum of parts, but as this larger being that is way more than the sum of the parts. Another way of saying it is we're not only reductionistic physicians, we're holistic physicians. And what that means to me in a practical way is instead of seeing a patient as someone that I need to fix or a part, a set of parts that are broken that somehow need uh, to be fixed. I see my patients as as these people who have a story and have a journey that's brought them to where they are, and I it's my job to try to understand that story and journey as best I can, and I can never fully understand it, but as best I can. And then it's my job to adjust a little here and tweak a little there and really try to bring balance into their lives because it's very easy for our journeys to pull us out of balance, to pull us out of a place that is not really health producing. So then with those little tweaks, we can bring people closer to balance and their bodies will frequently heal. Um, and I can give, I mean, just today, I had a patient who showed up and she had this unusual sensation in her mouth. And she'd been to doctors for several years trying to fix this sensation in her mouth. But all the doctors had the reductionistic approach. And so they were, doing biopsies, giving these different medication regimens, doing all these things to try to fix this sensation in her mouth, but you couldn't really see anything. And so I said, let's look at it a different way. Instead of trying to fix this thing that's broken, this sensation in your mouth, let's look at ways that we can bring balance into your life. And a lot of times, if we do that, the sensation is actually gonna go away. And she was all in. So we adjusted her diet a little bit, and we talked a little bit about her response to stress and those kind of things. And so who knows what her journey will be, but I can say I've had enough of those kinds of experiences that that different mindset actually is a relief to patients, in many ways, and they get how balance can make a difference, and they get how the attempt to fix it hasn't really worked. So I think that's the journey in front of the lifestyle medicine movement is let's think of these patients a little differently.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that example because it does take something that's a problematic in a very specific part of the body and zoom out and say, wait a minute, let's look at the whole patient. Let's see what their center is, and maybe there are pieces of their lives that are a little bit off center. And like say, you use the word of and the goal of finding balance and realigning that, and then a lot of times, certainly emotional, mental issues can go away, but also physical issues can go away. And yeah, I'm hopeful for that patient, and she's very lucky to have you as her physician. Um, uh, so as we close this brief interview, any other thoughts on the role of meaning, purpose, spirituality in our lives?
Well, just that I think that the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and you, of course, and the all the work that you've done over the last decades, it's like this is a time for it. This is the time to push into whole person care. This is the time to claim that mantle of looking at patients differently, of bringing real healing, bringing foundational healing, deep healing, not just sort of trying to fix things that are broken. And it's an opportunity, and we're well positioned to push forward in that opportunity, and hopefully really change the the chronic disease epidemic. Because that reductionistic approach is not fixing the chronic disease epidemic.
Yeah, very exciting. Of course, I'm all about that, about transforming healthcare by really going beyond the illness continuum to that broader positive health continuum. So it is wonderful to hear that you think that this is the time, because I've been waving that flag for a few years now, and very excited that the American College of Lifestyle Medicine is on board and we're moving forward in this direction. And thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Wayne Dysinger, and thank you to our audience for listening to this segment. And I hope you'll turn in and tune in to some of the other segments, as well as other offerings from the Global Positive Health Institute. And in the meantime, be safe, be well. Until next time, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.